So let us be clear. There are two types of people: those who drink coffee and those who drink tea. I am the second. Now, don't get me wrong, occasionally a good cup of Dunkin' Donuts hits the spot, and yes, I own not one, but two t-shirts that say, "Friends don't let friends drink Starbucks." I steep myself in tea because of all the memories. At 8, my grandmother gifted me my first pair of kid white gloves. Ladies, remember those? And then took those gloves and me to tea at the Ritz. My mother regularly served high tea, Long Island style, at our kitchen table for my sister and I, Earl Grey, with miniature Italian pastries, cannolis, and Napoleons. And finally, a wise woman of this parish encouraged me to read 3 Cups of Tea, One Man's Mission to Promote Peace. And yes, I do know that the author has mismanaged funds, spun lies into a nonfiction work, but set all that aside and hear the wisdom within. If you want to thrive in Baltistan, you must respect our ways. The first time you share tea with a Balti, you are a stranger. The second time you take tea, you are an honored guest. But the third time you share a cup of tea, you become family. And for our family, we are prepared to do anything, even die. So let's be clear, Mark, as a gospel writer, is impatient. He is not a 3-cup-of-tea kind of guy. He doesn't take his time introducing us to Jesus through Jesus' childhood. He skips it completely. And his gospel has an air of frenetic pace and breathlessness. Additionally, our lectionary, the Sunday schedule of gospel readings, matches this breathless pace. It moves us in just 1 week from last week, Mark chapter 1, to today, Mark chapter 8. So we move from the beginning of Mark to now the halfway mark of Mark. At a point in the journey when the disciples knew Jesus probably pretty well by now. I mean, they'd had, so to speak, a fair amount of cups of tea with him. They'd seen him cast out demons, heal numerous people. They'd rabble-rouse together on the Sabbath, them picking grain, him healing. Jesus had calmed a raging storm, taught confusing parables, multiplied loaves and fishes not once but twice, walked on water. So Jesus' posse had watched him firsthand pour out his life on a daily basis for others. Even what comes right before this moment is there to prepare them for the moment. 9 verses ago, Jesus healed a blind man, so now it's time for the disciples to open their eyes and see who Jesus really is. 5 verses ago, Jesus asked them, "Who do the people say that I am?" And now Jesus answers the question, explains what messiahship means. Christ is all about this 3rd cup of tea moment, this rubber hits the road conversation. We've all had them. Saying now to his disciples, "I know, up until now, you've thought being with me means attention, fame, and gain. But that's where you're wrong. You this point in Mark, the entire emphasis has been on Jesus' success, Jesus' power. But now, at this halfway mark of Mark, Jesus does a complete 180-degree turn, shifts his focus, moves from success to sacrifice. It's all too clear. Deny yourself. Take up your cross. Follow me. I love how Malcolm X rephrased the words during his own ministry. Anyone who wants to be a part of me and my movement must be willing to go to jail, to the hospital, and to the cemetery before he can be truly free. Friends, this is in-your-face language. This is a massive leap for the disciples to have to make, from famous to fugitives, from success to suffering. Peter kvetches. We shudder when we hear these words. 3 times over in Mark, chapters 8, 9, and 10, Jesus predicts his suffering and death. 3 times over in Mark, his disciples, this time around, complain, look confused, or simply ignore what Jesus has to say. This is a cup of tea the disciples don't want, and it's a cup of tea we disciples don't want. We're all of us more Peter than Jesus, more ready to rebuke a crisis than embrace it, more self-centered than sacrifice-centered, more creatures of comfort than children of the cross. Donald Wildman writes, at the very heart of Christian gospel is the cross, the symbol of suffering and pain, of hurt and pain, humiliation and rejection. I want no part of a Christian message which does not call me to involvement, requires me no sacrifice, takes from me no comfort, requires less than the best that I have to give. The duty of a Christian is to be faithful, not popular or successful. So we know that guaranteed following Jesus will make your life harder. You'll choose church over sleep. You'll turn the other cheek, stand with the broken, give till it hurts, love the unlovable. Do good that receives no applause, and pray not for an easier life, but a holier one. Still, we know following Jesus also makes life easier, more bearable, moving us to think beyond ourselves. Faith brings focus to the soul, work to do, hope beyond hope, strength beyond strength, and gives us the words and ways and tools to begin repairing a fractured, broken world. Marion Preminger, wife of the movie director Otto Preminger, began her adult life as a selfish, spoiled Hollywood actress. But then she ran into a guy named Albert Schweitzer and moved to Africa, and he became her mentor. In her autobiography, she wrote, non-helpers. I thank God He allowed me to become a helper, for in helping, I found everything. Lord, give us hope upon hope, strength upon strength, to be the kind of people who choose you over us, who die daily to self, and who lift high the cross.